During this heat wave, what do you look for? You look for shade under a tree, but think about this. The heat wave adds to an already stressed tree canopy in Portland.
So the damaged trees, you really start to see them come down when we get this heat. On top of the heat dome, heat waves, ice storms, and spring snow. Brandon Thompson going beyond the headlines, learning the past few years of drought really affecting our trees. I know you're in the South Park blocks there, Brandon, and there's still some troubled trees out there, aren't there?
Yeah, and reviving trees can make them safer, as you say. The heat causes stress that can make branches fall, but instead of just chopping down trees, here's some ways to save them. When the temperature climbs, branches are more likely to come down.
Foliage and branches, to some degree, are kind of like our skin in humans, where things are shedding off on a regular basis. In high heat, though, we can see it more often with limbs.
Adding to the heat, years of extreme weather and drought. Despite the spring rain, the canopy is still dried out.
Just because we have 1 year of good water is not going to reverse the effects of the drought.
In Delta Park, it's a tale of two trees.
This tree is very healthy. It has a few small dead branches, just because they're in the shade. We're looking at this other ash tree. It's very similar to the one we just saw, probably planted about the same time. And you can see this one's really starting to show some signs of severe drought decline.
Large swaths of dead branches and browned or curled leaves are all signs of drought, but not death.
This tree is not a goner. It could still be saved.
Treating drought-stricken trees begins at the base, digging around the root.
That what we call the root crown or the root flare. We like to say, let the flare see the air.
Then it takes mulch, but make sure to let it breathe.
We like to say use a mulch donut and not a mulch volcano.
Javier uses buckets to water the trees, not by dousing, but by dripping.
This is a way to make sure that it's kind of like percolating through your coffee.
He says watering trees before a heat wave helps their chances, but with over 1 million trees on city land, they can't get to each one.
When we have a hot and dry heat wave, we can't get to all of the trees right before that heat wave to give them a little extra water, so we are going to end up seeing more decline and less survivability just because of those things.
Portland Parks and Recreation isn't a heat response emergency, so if you see a tree or a branch in risk of falling, call them at 503-823-TREE, and that will get a crew to respond. Reporting live in the South Park blocks, Brandon Thompson, KOIN 6 News.